of audience evangelism at Microsoft, which means I'm responsible for the broad-based outreach to developers and IT pros, which includes students and startups, and helping evangelize Microsoft technologies and enabling them through the programs that we have in terms of access to technology so that people are inspired to build on Microsoft platforms.
Yeah.
I ran the Media Room business, which was a software platform for telecoms companies to provide television services to compete traditionally with the telcos.
Yeah.
I have done segment sales and marketing work here. I have done, not really engineering work, but planning work, but primarily sales and marketing work, but in a number of different areas of Microsoft over the last 15 years.
Yeah. And
Seen to date is going on currently
Yeah.
when it comes to the IT industry, and moving software from on-premise hardware and moving it into the cloud represents a fundamental shift for how people build applications and how they run applications. And so if you think about the implications of those changes on IT pros who run and manage those applications in their environments at a corporate or business, big changes for them in terms of what they do in their roles. For developers, the ability to develop across multiple platforms from a device perspective, but then run and manage those applications, but then also code those in different ways in the cloud, provides a whole different paradigm, moving away from the on-premise into the cloud format. And so it represents a paradigm shift in our industry.
but I think the Microsoft is the one of the platform platform company like Windows, and I think the more
devices tend to be on the device, but when it comes to the type of software that runs infrastructure, more and more of that is going to continue to move to the cloud. Now, Microsoft has recognized the fact that how people do that and how fast they shift is really up to them. So we will continue to provide solutions that meet the needs of everyone. But I think you could see a rapid change, and I think you'll see an inflection point over the next 2 or 3 years where more and more of the data and the technology to support running that data through applications is going to move into the cloud.
You are
In terms
doing
of how do we scale up the way that the contest is run.
Yeah.
And so we have pushed a lot of the regional competitions back down so that we can get more participation at the local level.
Yeah.
And we've continued to grow the participation. If you look at the participation over the last 2 years, it's continued to grow at 25 and 30% a year over the last 2 years. And that's because we're pushing more and more of the competition down to the local level, where there are big local competitions that then lead to a global celebration like we're having today for the finalists.
Yeah.
And we think that's important because we want to expand our reach into the student community. You'll see some things later this week announced where we're going to continue to expand on what we're doing. I won't talk about them today, but you'll see us continue to expand our reach to student population around the world by continuing to build on the heritage of what we are doing with Imagine Cup and only do more.
Yeah. Then
But they're also using a lot of the platform technologies. I think you saw a number of, if you went through the solutions and saw the applications, I think you have, you saw a number of them using technologies like Connect, using Bing technology. So using a broad-based set of platform APIs to really bring solutions to market. And one of the things that we think is really interesting, if you listen to Satya and his vision of the company being a productivity and platforms company, is a lot of the solutions that you can create aren't just built upon one OS platform on a device. It's really leveraging the power of the APIs across multiple platforms. So the integration of search and data APIs from Bing, right? And you think about what you can do with the hardware and the APIs that come from the devices or something like a Connect, and how those get integrated into developing a solution, we think is the way of the future. It isn't any one singular platform that ultimately derives the experience. It is multiple platforms being integrated into define experiences, and we actually believe that that provides an opportunity for even greater innovation. Because of the exposure of multiple technologies across the solutions, the more user scenarios can be adopted.
Yeah.
Understand that it's a program as much as it is a competition. And the competition is really important, but it's really tied to a broad set of programs that we have for student engagement that really are about putting technology, training them and educating them around that technology, and then creating the opportunities for them to bring their own imagination and own innovation to life through that technology. So Imagine Cup for us is more than just the competition. It is about our overall student engagement model and helping educate and helping enable them.
Can you tell us?
Don't let anybody tell you no. right, is the world of technology that we have today opens up so many opportunities for you. And one of the things I think is really interesting about the development of the cloud is your ideas can become big overnight, right? And if you think about them, because the nature of the cloud allows you to distribute your applications, sell and market those applications in a much different way than in the past. And so ideas that you think are small in your own head actually can become great opportunities only if you allow yourself to believe in yourself, right? And continue to drive on your own vision and your own dreams. And the biggest thing is don't let somebody tell you no, because at the end of the day, you can drive through that no to great opportunity. The student applications are developed here today. And one of the reasons why we have the world citizenship category is so that people can think about solving big problems with the technology. And there's been great examples where people are trying to solve medical and health issues with the technology and the platforms. I think we've seen the rehabilitation in terms of the sensors that you can track the hand movements and send that information directly to a medical professional who can then help you in terms of the exercises you need to go to fix your hand and go through rehabilitation. To diagnostics in the anemia application, where you can diagnose whether or not somebody is anemic by taking a picture of their eyelid. And so I think the broad-based applications are really, really important. And I think the medical world is one that's really important to solving very big, broad-based problems. And we're very inspired by the technology and the heritage of Imagine Cup, because over a number of years, we've seen people try to solve those kinds of problems through their technology. And we think it's amazing that students are really involved in trying to solve those kinds of problems. And we think that's great, man. If Imagine Cup can help foster students to be inspired to solve big problems like that, that alone is the reason for us to continue to move forward with Imagine Cup. That game and that service behind that is something that's Azure-based. And if you look at how we've been talking about Azure for a while now, it is very open and supporting of multiple device platforms. And that we think is critical, and quite honestly, we think it represents what is going on in the world today, where there's a broad-based set of choices for people to go buy their devices, and they're not always using PCs or Windows-based devices, they're using devices. And we would not want to prevent people from having an open opportunity to have that experience around that game by having it being only Windows. And I think that is a shift in strategy for Microsoft. And I think it shows us being much more open and supportive of multiple platforms, especially when it comes down to services and Azure. And I think Satya's been very clear about his direction and strategy of where he's going with that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.